Hello everybody and welcome to this video on testing out the distance in which mobs spawn and what is the most effective and best distance to build your mob farm away from you and standing position. So the three tests that I ran, two of them are on this contraption that is behind my character, and one of the tests is where I stand at the bottom of this and allow this to run for about 3 minutes, and then I go through and check the chests after killing the mobs and seeing how much loot they drop on each level. And then the next test is where I stand at the top of this and do the same thing. So for both of the tests, position 1 is where my character is, and then the number of blocks away from that are given are away from my character. So when I'm standing at the bottom here, block 1 is where I'm at, and you'll see the signs over here will go up in number for distance away from my character. And then the exact same thing for when I'm at the top of this, I'm standing there, and then the distance is measured for my character downwards. Just want to let everyone know that so they don't get confused. And then let's jump over to the other one, which is measuring the distance away from your character horizontally. Let's jump over there and I'll show you what that looks like. Alrighty, so here we are at the other tester. Let me jump over here in first person mode and show you guys this. So this is how I measure the distance from me to mob spawning. So I was standing right over here on this block, which would be block 1, going that way. And as you can see, I have each one of these quadrants here. That's 12 blocks away, 19 blocks away, 27. So I'll give you the numbers from here to here and what the spawn rates were inside of this area, and what area was the best for spawning. Which this is actually pretty interesting because originally I only built this out to, I think, to here, but was finding that there was a lot of mobs spawning at 72 blocks away. So I went ahead and added a couple more chambers here just to, you know, see how far out they would go. So this actually is pretty interesting. I also thought about building this a little differently. I used the same platforms here horizontally that I did vertically. So you have a little bit of a bigger area as far as where the mobs can spawn. I thought about almost doing maybe like a 5x5 area and then having it so the water pushes the mob over, and then, you know, you could kill the mob and then have their loot pushed over into a hopper that goes into a chest. So you would have a little bit of a smaller area, so you could do 5 increments through the whole thing. But I thought, you know, this is a pretty effective platform for killing the mob and then pushing their loot over into the hoppers and then collecting it over here in this chest. So I'm going to jump into the video now and show you guys the 3 things that we tested and the results. So enjoy. Okay, so for this first part, we are standing at the bottom of all this. All these different levels, as you can see, are spawning in mobs. Actually, when we get to the results, there's some that I was actually kind of surprised about, but you can see how the mobs at these upper levels are not moving. They're just standing there, which is good to know depending on the kind of mob grinder you're building. So it is sped up too. So let's take a look at the results here. So you'll see anything that was under 21 blocks had 0 items. It looks like around level 25 and 29 were really the sweet spot as far as standing at the bottom. Items. This one here is me at the top of the mob spawner, and it has a lot of mob spawning on a lot of these different levels. And not to give away the ending to the story, but I think these were very interesting results here. So what you'll see here is the same distances that I was away when I was at the bottom only generate 19 items in the same amount of time that standing up above between 25 to 29 blocks away, those two levels produce 27 and 31 items. So quite a bit more items there that were generated. So we're going to jump over here to the last test, which is going to be the horizontal test. So yeah, so this here is pretty interesting. If you see all the way over here at the right side of your screen where there's nothing spawning, that's where my guy is. But if you look at all of these compartments, you'll see that there are mobs spawning everywhere, which I was actually really surprised to see. So let's take a look at the items for this one here. So yeah, so you'll see this was kind of surprising to me, because the 20 to 34 range, which is about the same distance on the other two, was 19 items, which was the same result we got on the first test. But then when you get down to 65 all the way up to 94 in that area there, you had 22 and 21 items, which surprised me, to say the least, overall, being that far away. Now, the mobs were not moving that much too. That was something else I noticed, that once you got up past that first 34, the movement of the mobs decreased the farther you got out. So if you were to build something based off of this horizontally, then you're gonna have to be sure that you have some way to push the mobs into the killing chamber, and that you're not expecting them to walk and move themselves and like fall down into a running water and be pushed into the killing chamber. But if you're building it closer, between the 20 and 34 range, horizontally, I think you're gonna be fine. But overall, I think what I found was the vertical with your guy above everything had the best results. So hope this was helpful, and hope you enjoyed. Thanks a lot. Like and subscribe and share.